Backupus Restorus.
And you are presented with what looks like a server room with a giant pit to what could only be described as hellfire in the middle
there.
Do you want to investigate the files?
Yeah, I want to see what they actually are, like what the names of them are.
You want to roll, and we'll just do a roll for investigating those files?
Oh, come on, Tom, just open them. We're unplugged from the network. What's the worst thing that happen? Oh, God.
But as you're reading that ticket, Lisa, your phone rings. You gonna answer it?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you guys doing in there? The server is down. It's not working anymore. Fix this.
Well, you don't know this. I'm hearing it. You back up. Great.
All right. I'm sorry.
The first thing I ask is what his ticket number is.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another session of Backups and Bandwidth. I'm Jonathan Crow, Director of Community here at Ninja One. And I've already got us off to a late start. That's my apologies. As I mentioned in the chat, I rolled very poorly in the initiative. But look here, I've got some wonderful folks with me, some familiar faces. Let's start with you, Mr. Tom Lawrence.
How we doing, man? This is fun. Looking forward to another one. I got the proper shirt on, of course.
Absolutely, as you do, as is tradition. Welcome you back, one of the veteran players of Backups and Bandwidth. And then we have Ian Crago, part of the Ninja One team. And Ian, we subjected you to this game at least once or twice. I think this is your third time?
Third or fourth, yeah.
And he's still coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're back here. So you've been wiser or you haven't learned your lesson yet. We'll find out.
We will.
And last but not least, Adam the Graybeard, former player, now currently our DM.
And chief player killer.
You have been running the show here for the last couple of sessions. You're going to do so again today. We have a brand new scenario for you all. It's called the Sapphire Scream Plague. And this may be a bit of a tip-off of what you're going to encounter. But let's see how you guys handle it. So I'm going to set you guys up here. And I will point this out. So Amanda Berlin from Blumera, who is amazing. She had a conflict at home. Hope everything's okay. But we do have space here for one other player. So if anyone here watching in the comments wants to join us, let me know. I'll send you the link to join us live. If you're feeling brave and camera ready, you can join the party. Otherwise, Tom and Ian are going to be short-handed here. We've also got an SOS. Maybe they can roll and see if they can do a persuasion roll for anyone to join them. But all right, with that said, as folks in the audience are deciding whether they're feeling brave enough, let me set you guys up and set the table here, give you a little context. So last time, we kind of let you guys know that you are members of, it's not just an MSP. You're managing basically everything. I honestly forget what this acronym was. You're managing everything, and it stands for MEAT. Meat and Potions is what you're providing services. If it plugs in or if it's magic at all, then you guys are expected to service and manage it. And it's a new shop. You guys started off with one customer, Amazar, one of the largest distributors of magic and non-magic items in the realm. And things have been going pretty well with Amazar. They've been happy with you. And based off of their name, you get to throw that around and some referrals and some time that you took to visit the local Temple of Trade meetings. You've landed 7 new clients. This has been a kick-ass month for Meat. And you all are feeling pretty good. You're growing. You're riding pretty high, but you step into the office one day and Steve, the orc and owner of Meat and Potions LLC, is there in the office waiting for you. He's looking pretty haggard, which for Steve, not unusual. Pretty typical for him. But as soon as you get in, you can tell this is especially something's up. Something's going on. He is grumbling, and he doesn't even wait for you to sit down at your desk. He barges out of his office and grumbles to you. All right, team, we've got a bunch of sapphire screens popping up everywhere. You need to figure this out. Well, what are you waiting for? Get to work now. What, players? It's your first move. And from here, I'm going to go into the background and let you, Adam, take things over.
All right, yeah. So as you guys get into the office, Steve's yelling at you saying there's a bunch of blue screens going on right now. He keeps getting called from people and wants to know how you're going to solve this problem.
Stop using Windows.
Yeah. Can we just migrate everyone to Linux?
It's gonna move to a different operating system.
As an old Apache admin, I can give you a fresh set of hell to go through.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Apache.
So you basically, your only clue is you have them everywhere. And if you remember, you've got 7 clients going on. What's your first step here to assess this problem?
Just this is a refresher here, just so you guys know, to solve this scenario, you do not actually need to do the work. You need to come up with what is the problem and what is the plan. And once you believe you have solved and come up with a solid plan, we will evaluate whether or not you missed anything.
I mean, I like a suggestion from chat, which is to check our RMM for like patch management for recent patches applied.
I do have a question. Can we ask if we're using Crowd Smite? You know,
the choice antivirus is called Dark Magic Detector, DMD for short.
Just make sure it's not something like that.
And yes, just so you know, in these scenarios, you can use your real world knowledge to extrapolate. Oh my gosh, this sounds like
the Crowd Smite.
Yeah, this sounds like a Crowd Smite incident.
Now you can decide whether or not the DM is trying to screw with your head or not.
I think also, Adam,
should investigate no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I think
where's our timer, Jonathan?
I know. Well, that's what I'm glad you brought that up.
I would like to point out to everyone that Jonathan asked me to hack his computer to make the die roll work.
Well, yeah, come on. So I have a timer I'm going to launch. Things are urgent, guys. Like there's you have 7 customers now. They're all relying on their computers and their networks working. There's some sense of urgency, and to really set that in motion here, I'm going to share my screen and bring up.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question.
Yep.
Steve says that this is coming up everywhere? Question mark.
Hey, you know how they exaggerate. What would you like to test here? He says it's all over the place. Everybody's having problems.
Okay. I'm going to do... Oh, I don't like being full screen. I'm going to jump to logging into our RMM or whatever to check for patches that happened last night. I think before that, though, I want to try and get a list. Maybe the list of numbers that have called Steve, people I can call back and check in with and get... I need at least a couple of devices that have the problem that I can check in our RMM to see what has happened with them.
So are you going to ask Steve for the list?
Yeah, I'll ask Steve for the list.
List of numbers I've called him. Can you give me a roll?
Yeah.
D20, please.
Yep. I think it worked.
Let's see here.
16. Yeah. So Steve gives you a list of 4 customers who've called him. Those customers are Amazar. You may well know, has called in almost immediately and has been the biggest nag of all of them.
Okay.
And it's happening kind of like, he's like, oh, I said it was happening randomly. It was all over the place. They said, like he grumbles and he talks about like some story about people just not knowing what they're doing. And and then you have another one, a new customer, Unicorn Stables, is they just came in, they just got added into your PSA, but they haven't finished their onboarding, but they're like they're calling you. They know to call Steve because they haven't been assigned a technician yet. You also have Fragrant Fairies.
You said in our PSA.
Kind of another new customer. Most everybody's a new customer right now. And then you have Basilisk Bank and Trust.
You said in our PSA, but as I'm assuming that means we have not deployed any tools. Like it's in the onboarding stages, so it may not be our tools that are a problem.
Correct.
Encouraging and good to know.
Yeah, it's not our RMM tool. Great.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's not our RMM.
These are all in various stages of onboarding that Steve has given you as to who is called.
So the third option, do we have tools on any of their machines?
Which machines would you like to look at?
Well, I need to know before I call them, because if I call them and they don't have any tools, then I'm wasting my time. And if I call Amazar, I'm wasting my time because they're too big of a company. They have too much going on. They're going to spend the whole time yelling at me and not answering questions. I may or may not be speaking from real world experience there.
Like, you've done this before.
I'm gonna need a charisma check.
Well, that's why I don't want to call Amazar.
Who do you want to reach out to? Unicorn Stables? Do you want to reach out to Fragrant Fairies? Do you want to reach out to Basilisk Bank and Trust?
I want to avoid the bank as much as possible too. What is for the same reason as Amazar?
Racial enemy.
Oh yeah, can I be a ranger and assign them as my preferred target? Basilisks as my preferred target.
You guys should see how many notes I take on you. Should see Tom Spheres.
So the third one,
Fragrant Fairies.
Yeah, what state are they in onboarding? Do we have tools on their machines at all?
Can you please give me a roll?
Sure. Be happy.
Check your documentation process here. 17. You look at Fragrant Fairies and you can see that you are using an onboarding checklist. You are able to see that they have actually finished their onboarding. Their RMM is fully in place and they are ready to go. It looks like they just haven't been signed off on by Steve, just to make sure no one has signed off on the checklist to confirm that onboarding is complete. But the checklist has been done.
We're about to find out if somebody pencil whipped that checklist. Before I call them, I'm going to sign into the RMM and just make sure that Fragrant Fairies has computers in there before I call them and try and get some kind of list of devices that are having this issue.
Give me a roll to see how well you can look at their RMM.
Well, if I have to roll for it, it's not Ninja 1.
We're checking VPN access. No. You roll an 8, so you get into Ninja. You know it really well, and so you're finding that just kind of intermittent up and down. Some pieces are reporting in, some are not, and you're looking for what specifically?
Mostly, I wanted to see that their devices were in there.
Yep. There are devices reporting back in. They only have a few. They don't have very many computers, but they are reporting in.
So there
it does match up to the checklist.
Well, and next we would probably need a differential for the ones that don't report in versus ones that are. What's the patch level or what's the OS difference? Do I got to roll for that?
Yes.
Ooh. Oh. Not a
You
20.
can you can see that they are reporting in. Pretty much the full software inventory, everything is there for you to review. It is up to date as of last night
Uh,
for the ones that are not reporting in.
Okay. So they were working up until last night. So midnight's at least one data point we have.
And if they... So when you said they're up to date as of last night, do you mean that the data that we have in the console is up to date as of last night? Or
Yes.
do you mean... Okay. I was
The data you have in the console is accurate on the inventory of the assets as of last night, their last check-in. They were reporting 100%. They were running along really great, and then they went.
died. So can I check a activities log and see what happened? What was going on maybe? See if there was something specific running. An update to a specific application, an update to Windows. Not that Windows would ever break with an update.
So go ahead and give me a roll. And since you're a ninja user, I'm going to give you advantage here. So roll 2 d20s.
Ooh. I think there's an advantage button. I'm glad that there was an advantage button.
Hey, Jonathan, when is his next review? You do find out that there was a dark magic update that was pushed out earlier this morning and successfully applied to the computers that are down.
Okay.
You passed that check by the skin of your teeth, just so you know.
I did. I did indeed. Thank goodness for that advantage. I would like to check tech news. What do we got? What do we got for tech news? Do we have Magic Reddit?
We do. The Reddit is a thing that it does exist in this universe, just like it does in ours. I mean, this is just a magical version of where we are. So if you would like to check Reddit, I will need another check, but I will want a... Yeah, I'm going to stick this to the D20 on this one. You check Reddit and you see that a couple people have responded. They've said a couple things. You hear the usual, like complaining about how much dark magic detector sucks and how Windows sucks, and they're having problems this morning. But there's not very many. There's not very much activity going on right now.
Well, as we were scrolling through the echoed voices of Reddit, you said something about the dark magic sucking. Is that a commonality? I wonder if is there more to that? Like,
say that question one more time.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that's the root cause here. Was it a Windows update or is it a dark magic update here?
How would you find that out?
Ooh, contact the vendor. Ask if they're having any problems. The supplier on that. Say I'll go with we have a good relationship with them, so we can ring them and
with dark magic detector or with Microsoft, because
no one has a good relationship with Microsoft. So
you're gonna need a
detector. We're going to path of least resistance.
Yeah, I feel like you got to roll for this. Like you're assuming that you have a good relationship with.
Would you like to arm wrestle a dragon while you're at it? So you're gonna call your vendor with a DMD and ask if there's anything going on. I need you to give me a roll.
All right. Ooh. I'm getting put on hold.
Not answering his phone.
All right. I was hoping.
Let's check. Now that we have a baseline, and I'm seeing that specific devices that pulled an update for DMD are offline. I at least temporarily, feel pretty safe. We're going to do it with the little guy first. I want to disable set update for the time being. And then I want to go look through Amazar's computers and see if I can, because Amazar's probably got like so many. That should give us more data points. But stopping an update for a third-party software for a couple hours while we're testing is probably not going to kill us.
Seems like a good idea.
I'm going to give you an auto success on that.
Ninja One's policy edits are super easy.
So you've gone into DMD console and disabled it for who?
We're gonna stick with our fairy friends, fragrant fairies.
Disable the DMD update for the fragrant fairies.
Actually, I mean, realistically, it's not going to hurt the world. I'm gonna go universal on it, and just for the time being, I'm gonna not let that update.
Okay.
What about the dark magic, Ian?
Yeah, well, I have enough.
You're
data
just
points.
disabling the update, right? Or are you disabling
just
DMD?
the update?
Okay.
Just the update. I'm not disabling DMD. I'm not. There's a story there somewhere about a time that I accidentally disabled the AV for over 1,000 devices.
That's how we all learn, man. That's how we all learn. Well, fun story. Norton back in 2003, that was the only way to get back online. You had to disable it.
I was just trying to disable it for a device that had a hardware incompatibility, which was weird. And I may or may not have had a fever of 106 at the time that I didn't know about. And I was wondering why I wasn't really all there.
Mm.
And then after I went home sick, I got called the next day and was like, "Did you do this thing?" And I was like, "I probably did. I don't really remember yesterday."
I can neither confirm nor deny.
All right, so DMD update has been paused for the clients in the universe globally in your console for the clients that you have registered.
And then I want to go to Amazar's setup and just look for the same thing. I want to see the devices that are offline, what commonalities they have. What do they have in common? Did they all get the same update last night?
Give me a roll.
Oh no.
Is that a 2 or have you not rolled yet?
It was a 2.
That was a 2.
Amazon's got a lot of devices. You're not able to see any correlation on these devices, just that, some are down, some are up. It's kind of like the issue you had last month where just some machines just weren't reporting in and you can't tell because they're offline.
I know you checked the online to see what the whispers were going on. We have an amazing name. So we had a couple good ones. We had Mr. P saying dread it, which I appreciated. But man, Elizabeth coming in with rolled it. Yeah. And it's been iterated on. Yeah, rolled it. The Tavern of Many Subquests, as Tom says. Maybe we should check that again. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see if that thread's been updated. If the scroll's been updated.
Yeah.
You're checking again?
Oh
yeah.
Okay, give me a roll.
Unrolled it a few times.
Give me a roll with advantage this time. Since you have waited and checked again, we know that information is constantly coming out.
I definitely have a habit of keeping
with advantage. Sorry.
So you get to roll again.
Oh, okay. With advantage. Which one?
Another D20. All right.
This time you do see that the internet is at Rolled It is seeing that there are other sysadmins having blue screen of death issues, and that is related in their instances. You see multiple people reporting that they use DMD, pushed out an update, and it caused a blue screen of death on these machines last night. that they were able to look at their mini dump files and find out that there is a correlation between the two.
Ah. So is
Some
there
other people are saying it's just a bad Windows update.
I'm going with the dark magic detector here. Which should
Crowd-
have been called Crowd Smite. I'm just saying.
CrowdSmite just sent some emails saying this would never happen with us.
Yeah.
We have a discount, by the way.
You know, we can figure out what's going on by the marketing emails.
Never seen that happen before.
Yeah.
Are any of our computers in office having this issue?
Oh, good check.
Yeah.
Give me advantage give me a 2d10.
2d10?
2d10. That's a D100, but I'll call that a 10.
It didn't want to let me do one, but I might just be dumb.
What kind of rolling app is this, Jonathan?
I know, right? Yeah, it didn't give me an option for 2d10s. It's just
yes, you are able to find 2 machines in your office that are down that are usually used for testing updates. They're both blue screened over off to the side on the build desk.
Well, I'm gonna take a look at those mini dump files then. I think, you know, we're gonna follow the Reddit pathway here.
Yeah,
the rolled it pathway.
Okay, go give me a D20 check.
Ooh,
oh,
nice
high roll.
You're
You were able to find out that some of the rolled it posts are mentioning the exact same information that yours has with a specific file. We named the file. Do you remember what we named the file?
Well, I remember a previous version that may have not been suitable for work. I'm not sure.
Dragon scale renderer.dll seems to be causing the issue.
What's the file again? Is having a problem? It's the
Dragon scale renderer.dll, which is a known part of the dark magic detector.
I guess the next question is, can we try deleting that file and rebooting?
Would you like to do that?
I mean, we got these 2 test machines right in front of us, right? We can't hurt them. At least it doesn't matter if we do.
How are you going to delete the file? You're sitting there looking at a blue screen of death.
Oh, I'm just going to plug in my little Linux flash drive and...
Yeah.
Roll to see if you have Bitdefender enabled.
Ooh. BitLocker could be a stop here.
Sorry, BitLocker.
17. Is that 2 in a row?
That is 2 in a row, but I watched it roll.
All right. On this machine, you do not have BitLocker enabled.
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry. You have BitLocker enabled, but you have the key because you built this machine.
Yeah, obviously.
So
Okay,
you are able to log. You are able to log in, and access the drive, and delete the file.
And we restart and see if the computer comes back to life.
It comes back up. It seems to be fine, but your dark magic detector is now not working properly. You get an error.
That's expected. Can rollback maybe? Like update rollback for DMD?
How are you going to do that?
Well, we'll go with that tool has the ability to roll back to previous version. We're going to
like
make
a good one would.
Yes.
If not, I will go to the DMD console.
Computer is offline and blue screen, remember? So how are you going to roll back?
Well, this one's not. I just fixed it.
So he's going to reinstall DMD, or
So the goal is to try and roll back this version of DMD.
via what method?
If DMD won't let me do it, it's like built in.
It's broken. It when you boot it back up, DMD died because a core file is missing.
Okay. So we could potentially back up, but I don't want to pull from backups because I'm thinking of solutions that we could deploy at scale. The DMD console, can I download other versions and just do a full reinstall?
Give me a roll there.
If not, I have another idea if that doesn't work.
Well, it didn't work.
No, you cannot. They're jerks and don't allow access.
We're getting a new provider. I'm telling you what.
CrowdSmite is.
What do you got there, Tom?
Well, let's say, does our magical RMM tool happen to have some type of automated internet net boot system where we can re-image things remotely? Is that a feature we have? So we can roll back to a previous version because we have a really fancy mythical RMM tool.
Roll, please.
Okay.
And I'll let Jonathan make the call on this one.
I just hope Tom rolls well. Oh no. These dice.
It's still in beta.
It's on the roadmap.
I have another thought.
I'm going to go ahead and make that you do not know how to do it. Even if it exists.
Okay.
Ian might, but you do not.
Okay.
You have a temperature of 104.
Yeah. So you're just struggling today. A little foggy. So I want to try that, but first I want to check one of our good machines for that file and just copy it over here and see what happens. I'm sure that probably a full rollback of the software is better, but it might work if I just grab that existing DLL or from a backup.
You can check your existing machine that you're on that has not blue screened yet, and you do see that a different version of the DLL file is available on your machine that you're working on right now.
Okay, so it's there and it just doesn't matter.
As a good sysadmin, you're running N-2 on everything.
Okay.
And Chris Thomas, I really want that RMM tool. Everything that we design in these scenarios is, except for the names have been changed, are existing pieces of software. We don't magically make tools. So that RMM tool does exist.
You said that does exist, that file does exist, and I could attempt to restore
it. Is on your machine. Your machine is working fine. You have not been updated yet because you're in a exclusion group, because you're a sysadmin. This is what you do.
So I'm going to just grab a copy of that file. I expect that this is risky and it probably won't solve the problem, but I want to try it. Because if I can just redistribute DLL to computers, that would be super neat. So we're going to try it. And then if not, we're going to fall back on Tom's plan.
And roll for that again.
Yeah.
I like the idea of pushing out the DLL file to everyone, except for figuring out the offline ones.
Yeah. All right, so you copy over to your little magical USB key you have there, and you walk over to the machine, and you just use your Bitdefender key, get in, you place it into the well-documented, because we know you document before you push delete, spot on the hard drive, and you reboot it, and it comes up successfully. No errors on it, and it reports back in to your DMD server, and since you have disabled updating, it keeps running.
So now we have a.
How are we doing on time, Jonathan?
Oh man,
not
we've
good.
got under. It's about 8 minutes.
Tom, give me some thoughts. What are we thinking for deploying this DLL, or do we want to go back to trying to?
I think
boot?
the net boot, because that way we can tell people to reboot. It's going to go, hey, look, there's a net boot option, and start pulling it. And maybe this net boot system is fancy enough to be able to copy that file where it belongs.
I like this idea.
That way we don't have to redo the whole machine. We can just say, hey, fix this file.
Yep.
I want you both to roll for that. We're going cumulative knowledge check here.
All right.
Ian, you get to roll with advantage. Tom, you're normal.
Ooh.
Looking good.
I'm rolling good, and I get a natural.
Oh yeah.
Jonathan,
feeling this
is
works.
the backup system capable of a net boot restore?
I mean, you know that it is. It has to be with those rolls. Yes.
So luckily, using Ninja One's RMM desktop restore, you are able to replace this now on machines that are checking in to your RMM. Now you will have to call individually and walk people through the process, or are you going to go to each of these clients and do it on site?
We're gonna go send the intern.
All right, Jonathan.
So, as Jonathan has mentioned before, you do have a quasi intern by the name of Scrippy. Scrippy is really good at following directions, as long as there are directions to be had. And he really, really good with Ninja RMM. So you have solved a tool here. You solved a problem using Ninja RMM, and he can do it for the customers checking into Ninja for you, if you would like him to.
See why not? We have an intern, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm writing this down. That's a part of your solutions. You are sending Scrippy to your customers. Which customers?
Not Amazon. One of us should go to Amazon.
Yeah.
Somebody important with a title that Amazon will think is important should go there, because
Yep.
That guy.
That's the big
Like-
client.
Yeah.
You gonna send Steve?
I think that we try and send Steve to Amazon with a solution, just because it'll be important for the reputation of our company, to them being our first and biggest client. I think that's critical.
Yeah. It also gets Steve out of our hair so we can work.
Scrippy's gonna go to Unicorn, Fragrant.
I will.
I heard that.
We should probably send somebody not Scrippy maybe to that bank. I don't know. How big is that bank?
It's a mid-sized bank. It's family owned.
I feel like one of us should probably go to that.
Yeah. Banks just don't, if they're doing things right, don't let just random Scrippies wander around.
Yeah.
Although I've watched enough red teaming to know what happens.
All right. I will go to the bank.
So
I'm going to need you to roll for charisma,
oh,
since you've already expressed your disdain for banks. I'm going to need you to roll 15 or higher.
wow.
Huh.
It's tough.
That's not happening.
Well,
Ian just doesn't want to go.
I guess time
And
goes.
if he does go, it's going to upset the customer because of his disdain for them. You were unable to overcome your irritation from your last job.
I don't hate the bank. I'll go.
I'm going to the bank.
Do I got to roll for it?
No, you're fine. You don't have any. You
I-
don't have any biases against banks that we're
No.
aware of.
No.
So Scrippy is going to go to the Fragrant Fairies.
So when you guys are walking through that, how are you making these determinations? I mean, it sounds like obviously your most important clients need to be handled a little differently.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people really should consider. You kind of do have to save your biggest clients first, or the ones that are most impacted by it. There's not that all clients aren't equally important, but you kind of have to look at their business. What do they do? How critical are they? And make those decisions. You know, are they moving the freight around, delivering all the magical things? That makes them pretty high priority because lots of people are impacted. Are they medical? That is always a priority because lives are at stake. You know, the healers have to be healed first. So the bank could probably wait. They're a serious client, but they're one of the clients that honestly, I mean, people are pretty upset, but it doesn't have the same impact as, you know, a healer.
And I may be stepping on Adam's toes here a little bit. Let me know if I am, Adam. But the what about like within these clients, when you get there, are there priorities within them in terms of where you're addressing the work, what you're hitting first?
Before you answer that
Sorry,
question,
my
I
bad.
need both of you to roll a d20.
Hmm.
And what time do we have left there, Jonathan?
Oh, I mean, we have 3 minutes.
Who rolled the 18?
Me. Or-
Wait, you?
Wow.
I thought I did, but I could be wrong.
I don't know who player 2 is.
Hold on. I'm gonna roll a d6 and then we'll see who player 2 is. Me.
I will. You guys are getting a feeling that there's something major you're missing, and if you were to look at these ethereal voices that are in the background, they're trying to tell you something.
The client that's not onboarded yet. That doesn't have an RMM that we can't do automated. I can go there. They're not that many. I'll just manually do it.
I need you to roll a d20 to figure out how many there are that you're aware of.
I feel very comfortable in my decision to do this manually.
That's good.
Where are you looking for this information?
I would check Ninja for sure.
The PSA.
Yeah. See the PSA. How many are we billing them for?
You see one additional in the PSA and one that was kind of entered. So the one that is in the PSA is called Dwarven Forge Brewers. They are definitely in the PSA. They were supposed to be onboarded later on this week. No one's gotten to them yet, so they don't have an RMM or anything in place. And then you have Kraken Cargo Carriers. They were just kind of you don't know if they're a prospect or not because the name is in there and that's about it.
Not that beer new priority.
Yeah.
I guess if Tom's going to the bank, I'm gonna look through emails, any other information that we might have about who these other two clients are. Figure out where to go, at least who to call. With any luck, I'll find out that they're not already using DMD, and I can just pause that part of our deployment.
You can see in the you can see in the PSA that Dwarven Forge does have a number and a contact, have as a primary contact listed in there. Kraken just has a contact number in there, like for the general office.
I guess I would probably just call them both and, kind of be like, hey, we know that you guys aren't fully onboarded yet, but we've seen a widespread issue that's affecting a lot of computers globally. Like we just want to check in, touch base. We haven't heard from them that I know of, so that's.
Let me know when we're up on time, Jonathan. But Dwarven Forge Brewers, you get a hold of them right away. They did not know who to call. They are like, dude, we are down. We got a big party coming in this afternoon, and we cannot process any credit cards right now. We have 5 PCs. Is there anybody who can just get here and make them work again? This is a big deal for us. I know we just started with you. Please help.
This is one of those like huge opportunities as an MSP. where you make a client for life by you in this case, probably I will just go.
And it's the beer one,
and
which I'm jealous. I want to go there.
exactly. It's the beer one. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm afraid of banks. Money scares me,
But beer.
but beer.
But here, I'm there. Speaking of shoddy work,
Yeah, I think time is ticking down. It's practically up.
I think we solved it. We, took a little figuring out here. I think we got to the.
you're gonna call it.
I think
You
that's
feel pretty
time.
solid with this? And that's time.
I mean, there's a couple of clients left that we're gonna have to follow up with. I would send people to the other clients if we have other people with the instructions like this is what's wrong. We don't have the RMM, so we don't have an easy solution. We're gonna have to do it manually. It's gonna suck. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it too.
So here's your since we're after time, we're doing postmortem now. You guys were about 75% complete. So you were able to figure out what to do with non-backed up PCs. You were able to prioritize based upon business impact. That was highly successful. And you were successful in ensuring untapped PCs were safe from becoming infected. You did not find a way to help people where you did not have the BitLocker key. And you also missed 2 clients. Steve had just landed these, but Steve was gone. Steve was at Amazon. So he wasn't able to tell you that, hey, don't forget about Legends and Lattes and Elvenwood enchantments.
Mm.
So
when he got back,
Steve's a bad manager.
because the documentation was not up to date, these new customers were not in. And the postmortem here is that when you're doing rapid growth, ensure you communicate well as to who's coming in. That PSA is really important. And then also, as Tom pointed out, knowing your capabilities of your RMM, what's actually it can do to save you time, that is key. Like you may not know that you can do this out of band, that you can do a net backup or a net restore. And if you didn't know, you're going to spend all your time walking around with a USB key drinking beer. Oh, wait, that's not a punishment.
I want to drink beer and not have to walk around with a USB key.
So I wanted to see, like, from your guys' standpoint, what would have made this easier? Like, what were some of the struggles here? This is obviously based upon the CrowdStrike issue. We just changed the names to save the innocent or not innocent.
And CrowdSmite would have been too obvious.
What would have made this easier? Like, what were the hiccups here? What can MSPs do to avoid like missing customers or finding the solution a little faster?
Documentation, kind of like you alluded to there, having everything in there from day one in processes we follow is the lead comes in, they start getting into the process, even if they may not completely sign a contract with us, having that information there from day one. So everyone has a source of truth to say, hey, ABC company would like to do business with us. They need an assessment. Hopefully they approve it. Hopefully they onboard with us. But starting it from the beginning means when it does, and if it does come to your MSP, you've got a living document with even more history, because sometimes those clients, don't call you back till 6 months later. Especially, the sales reach out and they're like, hey, we'd like to be your MSP. To go, hey, call us back in 9 months when our contract's up. And those touch points are really helpful. So it's not like every day's a new day.
Yeah, like I know in our system at Humanize, like you can put somebody in as a lead. If they're not an active customer, you can put them in. You can say who the primary contact is there, what their phone number is. And just having that information when you have something like a CrowdStrike issue happen, you can preemptively call them and say, hey, we have a fix for the CrowdStrike issue. Are you having this problem? And when they say yes, you just, as Ian said, you've just got a customer for life. You just close that sales process like that. But just because they're not your active customer doesn't mean that the information isn't useful.
One thing that I'm interested in too is the you guys are obviously able to kind of assess from your own perspective, who should get priority based on, the importance as a client, and also looking through like, what who has the most critical need, I guess, in terms of like the reliance on tech. But yeah, just doing a business impact analysis for folks, and being able to, even within clients, knowing, okay, when there is a widespread thing like this, what exactly do we need to prioritize in terms of systems? Where do we start first when Ian does walk over and he's got a beer in one hand and a flash drive in the other? Where does he walk first?
And that's a hard conversation, because you ask what's critical, there's two answers that usually come up: nothing
Everything.
and everything. Oh, no,
Yeah.
we're fine. We do a lot of manufacturing. We could live without the computers. No, you can't. And then the other people, there's nothing that we don't use. All things critical. And neither one of those are easy, because you have to really start assessing, what do they actually use? What could they survive out? You kind of tier that and set up, hey, this is critical because this makes the widgets keep going.
Yep.
Accounting, they can bill for the widgets later, but we got to at least have the machine that makes the widgets up and running first. Figuring out those priorities is the hell
And
that is for people
this-
who are customer account management, and keeping track of it. And take a step back, as I had mentioned, if you're someone who manages critical path infrastructure, manages hospitals, safety, law enforcement, etc., those are different types of challenges of, how do I prioritize? I only have X number of resources at my company.
Yep.
30 techs can service a lot of companies, but not if they're all broken at exactly the same time. Then it becomes a tiered list.
There are threats out there that you don't think about. This is the importance of tabletops with your customers, especially critical infrastructure, as Tom said. Like, I was a critical infrastructure security director. That's what I did. And that was hard. Like, people talk about the pen test, like, oh, that's not really a pen test. And like, let me tell you about pen test. My pen test had the DoD involved. And we had offsites. We had hermetic seals. And one of the things we identified as a big problem for outages was, how do you deal with families? And so when there's an outage, when there's a pandemic, when there is a hurricane, a tornado, an earthquake, people are going to take care of their families first. And so now you got to deal with that as an IT person, as part of your DR strategy. How do you ensure that? How do you get the communication going? And so when you're talking through what are the priorities for the business, they don't really know until you run a scenario. Hey, a tornado went through Lincoln, Nebraska. It hit these three neighborhoods. And now we got to deal with how we're going to get everything back up and going. And you say, Bob's over here and his family lives in one of those neighborhoods. He's not going to be in. He's out. And you kind of go down and like, okay, well, what do we need to do to get this back up and running? And now your client prioritizes appropriately. We need this system going. This is how we run our business. And so those tabletops really help you, especially DR tabletops, really help you with business continuity planning, which needs to happen before you can do DR planning.
I imagine too, and this is in your wheelhouse with Humanize and everything. I imagine there's opportunities too for planning even beyond. This is like the foundation beyond disaster recovery, business continuity. It's like, well, okay, now that we've identified the critical systems, do you have everything you need there? Are there other opportunities for projects and things like that?
Yeah. Most of the clients that I've seen when it comes to BCP and DR haven't really thought it through. They've got like a call list for like a blizzard or something like that, but they haven't really thought of, if this building caught on fire, how fast do we need to be back up and running? And just asking that question, like, how long can your business be down before your DOA? And you can solve a lot of those problems. I had a large company I worked with where they could only be down for like 4 hours. And that was thousands of employees. And so we had hot sites ready to go with images ready to go that were updated on a weekly basis. So we could deploy an entire call center at a hot site. We had a lot of money invested in getting back up and running in hours. And so what is your
because of weather?
Like, if you're a flower shop and you afford to be down for a month, a week, a day, and asking that simple question answers a lot of questions for a MSP to say, you know what? I can make sure I have a laptop on standby that can run your software. We'll store it here. We'll store it in a closet for you. We'll charge you $20 a month for it or whatever, and it's ready.
And Tom and Ian, you too with your background, but Tom, you've seen all sorts of stuff. I'm interested, going through this exercise and seeing different types of companies having such different operations and needs. I mean, you've served all sorts of different
Yes.
customers, and I'm curious about having a process that you're trying to standardize when you're looking at all these very different types of folks.
The questions are the same, but
Yeah.
like you said, the wildly different industries, because we're not niche into any one vertical. I don't know. It's really interesting. We've learned a lot. We have an extremely large dairy farm, so we learned what's a priority there. Turns out the milk machines, and so that is like an OSHA and a hazmat issue if that thing gets rebooted, as we learned. But before it became an OSHA or hazmat issue. Those days, the software in the dairy market's not great, and maybe it doesn't properly start up when you reboot a server. But we'll talk about how we learn that another day. So, the Florida companies have been interesting because as a Michigander, we just don't have. We have blizzards, but people to stay home. That's not the same as like, hey, a hurricane removed the roof from our building. We've done. We did one time, we actually actively did it, but we've done drills with a client with like a lift and shift program they have where they just move things to the cloud. They start doing it if the weather looks too bad. Certain critical functions get migrated. They spin up VMs in the cloud and nobody comes to the office because they're right there at the point of impact in Florida. They're a boat manufacturer. So they move all their databases and keep them live in Azure. Until they prefer to keep things on site because the bill's cheaper, but that's their plan. And it's an interesting scenario to be able to walk through where you are spinning up images in the cloud like that, because that's the scenario that they can keep the business running, keep talking to customers from somewhere else.
It's interesting too. I mean, I know we're pretty much at time here, but it seems like not only are you getting this knowledge internally, but you're able to then use that with your other clients that may not be in the same vertical, but then you see the pattern, right? And you're able to share these solutions across your client base.
I see the comment. When the weather's bad, shift to the cloud. Yes.
The key takeaway for everybody for this scenario when it was designed was it is the CrowdStrike scenario. It's meant to be something familiar, something you should be able to go back in your head and think, I've heard of this happening before. And so you're solving the problem really fast and you get overconfident. And what the key part of this particular tabletop, so when you download it from Ninja, is that it's to test whether or not you're paying attention to who your clients are, and are they being taken care of? Do you have your documentation around your client base ready? Troubleshooting is easy. We like troubleshooting. We're good at troubleshooting. Did Steve communicate effectively, given how they brought on 7 new clients this month? He did not document them all. He was too busy, he's working and he's coming in, and he forgot to tell Tom and Ian that he has these new clients coming in right now, and we're responsible for them. And so this happens in MSPs. It does. You get busy and you fail to communicate. And so when you have a scenario like this, how do you use it? And then also Tom bringing up that idea of even with your prospects, even with people who are just leads right now, pay attention to those. And you just got a great opportunity there.
Create a culture of documentation. And that doesn't just mean the text. That means the salespeople who will love you less. If you think techs don't like documenting, way too trained as salespeople to put everything in HubSpot and make sure they use everything in whatever their tooling is around that. So, but that helps so much to have that context and things. I mean, we use the, I can't remember the name of the fireflies.ai, which is, there's many of them out there, but those note-taking things, put that on a call with everybody, because you go back through there and it's just another source of documentation where I'm like, oh, the salesperson had an interesting little side quest they went on with the person. They didn't have context for it, but being able to go through it, because I was not on the call and read that, that gave me some insight into the client when I got to the technical side of the conversation. Sales forgot to put this in there, but I just perfect highlight I found in there that I said, that's some insight that I care about from what their goals are for helping them with this problem.
And there are some cool new ones coming out. Like I'm a Fathom user. You know, you might be a whatever note taker. Some of the newer note takers are coming out. One of them I've been kind of watching. It's in beta right now. I'm going to call it out. Shameless plug for Sift, CYFT. That plugs right into your RMM and helps you with your documentation. And so I hate documentation. I despise it. But also, I was taught coding and I was taught to comment your code, and it saves you time. And they eventually broke me on that. And so I'm always looking for an easier way. So like with my HubSpot, like it listens to my calls and it takes notes for me because I'll forget, and I'll go back and look at my action items. And some cool ones coming out for MSP. So keep your eyes open on easier ways to document. If you can take some of that off of your salespeople, off of your engineers, look for ways to make that easier and make it useful. Don't just
Yeah.
flood people with words, but make it so that it's easily accessible. So when there's a scenario where everybody's down and out, like a CrowdStrike outage, you can look at this. Okay, did we get all of our customers taken care of? Can you do that really easily?
Awesome, guys. Great stuff. Congratulations for getting through the scenario. 75%, pretty good. I think that's a passing
3
grade.
out of 4.
For minus,
3 out of
yeah,
4.
and for minus a player.
That's true. That's true. And
Amanda would have remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like in real life, you know, these things happen. Well, we definitely look forward to having Amanda back and you guys back too. We are going to do another Backups of Bandwidth. I think the end of July 31st, and then we're looking at August 28th, which is right before.
And what's our topic for end of July? You want to give a sneak peek for that?
Yeah, we do. So end of July, Ian, this is going to go close to home for you, my friend. It's going to revolve around K to 12. So it's going to involve education, sysadmin, tabletop. And then in the end of August, we're looking at something around, I don't want to give too much away here, but the broad topic is going to be shadow AI.
Ooh. I see.
So that's to come. But thank you guys as always. I'm going to update.
I want to push off AI for one more month, but we'll see.
Okay, well then we may have another topic. As always, feel free to join. I think a lot of you folks are already members of the Discord. Jump in, share. We have a channel where you can share your own tales from your tech world and share those experiences. We're looking for real world things we can recreate. And I'll update this YouTube recording with links to those future streams, past ones, and a link to, like Adam mentioned, download this scenario so you can run it with your own team. All right. Congratulations, everybody. Thanks again, and we will see you next time.